Hello and welcome to Chaotic and Witchy. This is my very first pick a card reading, so I'm incredibly grateful and happy to have you here with me today. The subject of today's reading is what messages your spirit guides have for you. Please note that all of the tarot names will be listed in the description below. And if you have any suggestions for any future pick a card readings, please leave them down below and I will be happy to do them sometime in the future. So let's proceed. The first pile 1 is right here, pile 2 is here, and pile 3 is right here. So please concentrate on the pile that you would like to select, and let's begin. Hello and welcome, pile 1. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I am going to apologize in advance for any background noise you might be hearing. I am in front of a large window. I have pets, so you might hear some scratching, some meowing, some shuffling, and I do apologize, and I hope you can hear me clearly. But I'm gonna go ahead and begin with the song that I picked for you. And the song that I picked for you is called Smile by Maisie Peters. I'm so sorry if I am saying her name wrong. The song will be listed in the description below, and we're going to go ahead and see how it resonates with the rest of your reading. So I'm going to start with the first card that I have for you today. The first card that I have for you today is this beautiful Page of Swords. So I am hoping it is focusing for you. This is an incredibly stunning card. It tells me that you are at the beginning of a journey that you're going to have to fight and wade through. And perhaps you've already seen some bad times. Whatever journey that you are on, I can tell that you have come from the storm and you've weathered the storm. You've weathered the storm. Not only have you survived whatever has been in your way, whatever has been in your past, you have taken and you've absorbed the lessons of that past. As you can see, she has lightning coming from her eyes. She is holding a sword. It tells me that you're at the beginning of a very enthusiastic, energetic, and perhaps contentious journey. I don't think that this journey is going to be easy for you, but I think that you're aware of the fact that this journey is not going to be easy for you. You know that there's battles ahead. You know that you have to fight for what you want. But the page is a very... And typically in the tarot represents a fairly young, youthful person, someone who has a lot of budding enthusiasm. And I definitely see that for you here. And it's, again, quite a stunning card. So let's see what else we have for you that might give us a little bit of insight into what this journey is that is coming through. I did hear the word piano. I believe you may be a musician. I do get that sense. I think that you might be someone who is musically skilled. I believe you are an artist of some kind. And I believe that this is the project that you're about to endeavor on, because we have this gorgeous Knight of Cups. Now, what the Knight of Cups tells me is that this is a passion project. Cups are linked to our emotions. Cups are meant to be filled with that which makes us happy, gives us that emotional satisfaction. And the other thing that this card is telling me is that you are not in this, whatever project that you're endeavoring on, you are not the typical type of person that this type of area usually sees. You are someone who's perhaps a little bit androgynous. Perhaps you have a certain look to you, a certain appearance, but you're definitely going to be a groundbreaker. You're going to be an earth shaker. You're going to be someone who builds a community around you. I don't know how well you can see, but in the border of this card, you see quite a gorgeous community of people. You see people intertwined. It is kind of, there's definitely a bit of sexy energy going on here. So you might be someone who's very fluid with your sexuality. That is something that I'm getting. I do believe that whatever you're about to embark on, you're going to shake it up. You're going to form a community around you. You're going to have a lot of support from like-minded people within this community. So that is what I'm seeing. But it's definitely a passion project for you, pile number 1. I feel like it's a passion project for you because I see all of this incredible energy surrounding this individual. I see the people around this individual. I get there's beautiful colors. There's this bright pink. It looks as though they're standing in the doorway. And I really get a sense that this is something that's going to bring you quite a lot of fulfillment and quite a lot of satisfaction. And you're going to be a rock star in it. You're going to excel in it. You're not going to be someone that is the typical type of person. So that's something I'm picking up on, and I am definitely validated in that because we have the star. So whatever it is that you are about to embark on, your guides want you to know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There's a light in the darkness, and that you are destined to be, you know, a star, perhaps, you know, not necessarily someone super famous, but definitely someone who is going to succeed in this area. You're going to be successful. And you can see that beneath her feet, you have all of these birds that are forming a path. She doesn't have a path necessarily. She doesn't have a path made out of concrete. She doesn't have a path made out of stone. She has a path made of flying birds. So I feel like whatever you're about to embark on, it may be spiritual, and you're definitely being guided on this path. You're not alone on this path. You are being guided. You are heading towards, out of the darkness towards the light. And I think that that pairs very well with this beautiful Page of Swords. And as we had discussed, she is walking out of a storm, and she has absorbed that storm into herself, and it has made her stronger. So there is, I'm definitely seeing that you have been through something and you are now being carried out of it, and whatever difficulties that you have been experiencing, whatever barriers were in your way, they're about to move out of the way. And I'm also seeing a lot of birds on these cards. I'm seeing the birds in the star card. I'm seeing the birds behind this individual, behind her in the sky. Perhaps that has some significance to you. Perhaps birds are your spirit animal. Perhaps you see birds, and that is how your guides communicate with you. In fact, I do believe that's how your guides communicate with you. So if you're ever seeing birds that are perching on your balcony unexpectedly, if you live in an apartment, if you live in a house, you might hear a bird perching on the side of your window. And that's probably a message that they're watching over you. They want you to go for it. And they can see that you've been through a lot of strife. So I'm going to pull some more tarot for you here. And I have this card here. And I can tell that you have worked very hard for this project. I can tell that you are trying to get somewhere, and perhaps it hasn't been easy. And perhaps there have been obstacles in your way, but you've got what it takes. You're moving and you're getting through those obstacles, and you're definitely well on your way to that path. And that is confirmed by this card. As you can see here, there have been difficulties. There have been quite a lot of setbacks for you. There have definitely been perhaps you have been stabbed in the back. Perhaps there have been people who have been unkind to you. Perhaps there have been people who have discouraged you and said, no, don't do this. You're not going to succeed. You're too different. You're too odd. People aren't going to understand you. People aren't going to get it, that your idea isn't good enough. And you're definitely feeling that a little bit. But your guides want you to remember that you're the star, that you have them beneath your feet to carry you, that you're not alone, and that you don't have to stay in this state forever. And you know what? I don't think you're staying in this state. I think that you're very motivated to move forward. But I definitely see for you with the Page of Wands that you have your feet planted firmly on the ground. This is a little bit of a different energy than the Page of Swords, which is a much more active cutting energy. This is more of a contemplative energy. Perhaps there have been setbacks in the past. Perhaps there have been backstabbings or people who have said to you, look, you know what, you're not going to succeed, you're not good enough, you're too weird, you're too odd, your idea is too strange, this isn't mainstream, what you want isn't going to work. But now you're taking that negative feedback and you're transforming it into, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to do it, and I don't care. But you're forming a plan in your mind. You're not jumping to it right away. You do have that bold energy and enthusiasm to guide you, but you're not leaping quite into motion. There is definitely some planning here. So whatever you're planning, rest assured, it's gonna work. Whatever you want to do, it's got to work. You've got the support. Even if you might feel like you're a little bit odd, a little bit different, it's definitely something that you have the way set for you. You definitely have the motivation. You have that fire lit under you, and you're gonna get to where you gotta go. And I am hearing that this is definitely a passion project. I'm getting the sense that it's something creative. Perhaps you're feeling that you're physically too different to, perhaps it's something on camera, perhaps it is YouTube, perhaps it is something in film, perhaps it is something where you have a physical forward-facing appearance and you're nervous. How are they gonna understand me? I'm too different, they're not gonna like me. But your spirit guides want you to act as if. Now, the chameleon spirit, I think, really shows to me that you are someone who is very different, very versatile, very adaptable. You are someone who can definitely fit into this setting, even if you're different, but you're going to bring something to it that is never been done before. You're definitely going to be an earth shaker in a lot of ways. The other thing your spirit guides want to know is, although you may be doubting it, although you might be thinking, oh, no, it's not going to work out, it's not going to go well, they want you to know you have to act as if. I don't know if you are a manifester, you might be a manifester, but I'm definitely getting the sense that perhaps you have let doubt creep in a little bit too much. You've definitely let your voice, your negative voices step in and control you. Instead of acting as if, act as though you are already there. Now, usually when it comes to the law of attraction and manifestation, you don't want, if you don't have the money to spend, and then don't spend it. But there's definitely something about the mindset that you're in. If you're coming from a place of lack and you're acting as though, I don't have this, I'm not successful, I don't have the viewers that I want, I don't have the subscribers that I want, I don't have the kind of attention that I'm seeking, you have to act as if. How would you feel if you did have those things? You would probably be thrilled. You would be walking on air, literally walking on air. And your guides want you to act that way. They want you to have the confidence as though you are speaking to 1 million people, as though you are reaching out to people who are enthusiastic and are listening to you. And that's what your guides want you to do. And they want you to do that with the assurance that there's always enough, that you're taken care of, that they are helping you, that they are the force beneath your feet, that they are there to take you to the destination you gotta go to. So they're saying there's always enough. Now, the koi fish, and this is going back to the premise that you're working on a passion project, you're definitely working on something, and you might feel like a big fish in a small pond, or vice versa, a small fish in a big pond, rather. And the koi fish understands that it has its place, that there is enough, and it doesn't matter how many people are in this area that you would like to get into, because rest assured, there is nobody like you in this area quite yet. You are definitely going to be someone who is going to break the mold, and there is enough. You might be thinking, okay, I don't want to start a YouTube channel because there are so many YouTubers who do this exact same thing, and there are so many YouTubers or musicians who write music in this style, or there are so many girls or boys or any type of person in perhaps you're interested in the makeup industry and you feel like it is so oversaturated and there's so many beautiful people. No, what your guides want you to know is you have something to bring to the table, and you should be bringing it to the table because you are this chameleon spirit. You are this absolutely unusual and gorgeous person who is going to bring something that nobody has ever seen. So no, you should not hold yourself back. You should not feel as though there isn't enough room for you in this area. You should definitely go for it. That's what they're trying to tell you. So don't look at others and think, okay, I'm never going to be as good enough. I'm never going to be as good as them. I'm never going to fit in. And you know what? Nobody wants to listen to me anyway, because, who am I compared to all of these people who are, my competitors? And I'm saying my competitors just so that I can then budge in and say, don't look at them as competitors. Look at them as people with whom you can learn, from whom you can learn, and with whom you can grow. That's what I'm really getting here for you, and that's what they want you to know. So don't feel that way. It's absolutely not true, and there's definitely something for you to bring to the table. So the other card I have for you is Portal. Now, this is just a further affirmation of all that we've been talking about today. Doors are opening, you decide, rewards, wild card. Now I'm seeing a lot of doors. I'm seeing a doorway here, like I had mentioned. I'm seeing the doorway here. There's a star at the end of this journey that she is on. There's a lot of doors opening for you. So rest assured that there is some place for you. There's a place for you to go, and you just have to move and go there. And I do believe that you're in a period of contemplation. You're trying to think, okay, how am I going to do this in a way that nobody's done it before? How am I going to grab attention? How am I going to make an impact that hasn't been made before? Because obviously nobody wants to enter a creative project and be doing something. Excuse me, I had to rearrange my body there for a second. My foot was falling asleep. But nobody wants to be doing something someone else is doing. So you're definitely planning. I feel like you're doing a lot of writing. I feel like you're doing a lot of practicing. I feel that you are gathering that which you need to perhaps set up your office, your studio, I'm really seeing that you're kind of planning and gathering. So there may not be a lot of movement right now because I have the standstill card right here. And the standstill card is completely fine. It's perfectly normal, and perhaps sometimes we need to be at a standstill. I do feel that you're in a contemplative zone. I do have a sense that you, like the Page of Wands, you have your feet planted firmly on the ground. Perhaps you're at a standstill because of the Swords card here. Perhaps you're at a standstill because you have had someone betray you, tell you no, set you back, give you negative feedback. And the thing that you need to remember is it's okay to be at a standstill, but inevitably you have this Page of Swords energy. You have this fire underneath you. You have this movement that you need to be engaging in if you really want to get where you want to go. And for a while, for now, it's okay to stay here, but you're going to have to get moving. And you're going to have to get moving because the world wants to see what you have to offer. It's really that simple. Whatever it is that you're setting out to do, however you are setting out to do it, you have to get moving, and you have to stop questioning. You have to try to move away from this coy spirit that is telling you there's not enough room, there's not enough space for me here. There's always enough space for you here. And the other card I have for you, this is actually a very beautiful pile, and I swear to you that I do not look at these cards or pre-select them, but the card I have for you is happiness. I do have happiness for you here. And what I'm hearing is actually a few things here. Number one, I do believe you're going to find happiness in this project that you're setting out to do. I do believe that you're going to find companionship. Like I said already, there's going to be a community around you. There's going to be people that you're going to help uplift. They're going to be like you. They're going to see that you are among the members of these communities, and they're going to be inspired by you. So you're definitely going to have happiness. And perhaps if you are single, if you are somebody who has not found your soulmate or your partner, this is how you're going to find them. I really get a strong sense that this person may be someone you work with. This person may be someone that you meet on this journey, because I am seeing the two dolphins. And I can't, ignore that. I do get a sense that perhaps on this journey that you're about to undertake, you're going to find a companion, or perhaps you're undertaking this journey with someone. This is another way to read it, is perhaps you're not alone on this journey and you have a partner already, a business partner, a creative partner. And I do get a sense that they're there to support you and that you're both going to thrive. and you're going to work off of each other's energy, and it's going to be a positive relationship. So whether or not you have that person in your life already, whether you started this business alone, and it's totally okay to go about your business and be alone. It's perfectly fine to not want to share your space and not want to share your, what you're setting out to do, and have it be intimate and have it be personal. But ultimately, with any creative endeavor, we do need help from other people, and there does come a time where we need some help and support. And what your guides want you to know is you're definitely going to have that on this journey. You're definitely going to have companionship. Even though I do get a very strong sense, all of the cards up until this one, they're solitary cards. There's nobody else in those cards. And I feel like up until this point, perhaps you felt quite alone. You felt like you were on this journey by yourself, but that's not going to last very long. And then once you get out of the standstill that you're in, I do believe that you're going to manifest. And where is that manifestation card? The chameleon spirit. Act as if. I do believe you're going to manifest that which you are seeking. And that's really the message that's coming out strongly to me in these cards. And it's very interesting because the song that I picked for you, and it will be in the description below so that you can go ahead and check it out. The song that I picked for you is all about that empowerment, and perhaps that's why I'm hearing that you might be doing this project alone. There might be support along the way. You might just happen to meet someone while you're venturing on this project, and they're going to be your companion. They're going to be your support system, perhaps behind the scenes. But whatever it is that you're about to embark on, you've got it, and maybe this is a very specific message to a very specific person, but I do believe that your guides are telling you to go for it, to be fearless, and that at the end of the road, you're going to have success and you're going to have happiness. And please do not feel as though you are less than. Don't feel like you're inferior. Don't feel like you don't have what it takes and you compare yourself to others. You surely do, and you're well on your way, because I'm seeing all of these incredible cards that are propelling you forward. So thank you so much, pile 1, and I'm going to move on to pile 2. Hello and welcome, pile number 2. I have been giving each pile a bit of a disclaimer and saying if there's any background noise, I do sincerely apologize. I hope you can hear me clearly. I hope the cards are focusing for you. But I'm going to go ahead and dive into the song that I picked for you. And the song that I picked for you is Clementine by Halsey. And it's a very bittersweet song. It's a beautiful song. I adore Halsey. I adore Clementine. And I want to see how that song is going to resonate with the rest of your reading. I guess to start, what I'm getting is I do feel like because it's a very, Halsey says, I don't need anyone. I don't need anyone. I don't need anyone. I feel like you may be someone who's a bit of a recluse, or at least you have been in a period of very active, fervent, get away from me, step back from me. I need to kind of be in my own skin. And I feel like that's what's coming through, that you've been a bit withdrawn lately. Okay. Yeah, you've definitely been withdrawn. I'm getting the 4 of Cups. Now the 4 of Cups in the traditional Rider-Waite, you see someone who is, usually under a tree with their arms crossed across their chest. They have these cups in front of them, but they're not paying attention. They're focusing on the cups in front of them, and there's an arm reaching out holding another cup, and they're completely oblivious to the other cup because they're so focused on what's in front of them. They're so focused on that which they're lacking that they do not see the wonderful things that are in front of them. And I do feel that I'm getting a great sense that you have been quite withdrawn and you've been quite within yourself, and that you're not seeing the gifts or the people around you, and you've been a bit of a recluse. And what I'm getting is that it's time to step away from that. It's time to step away from that feeling. And this again ties back to the Halsey song perfectly. I don't need anyone. I don't need anyone. I just need everyone and then some. So you acknowledge that there's a definite need to connect with someone, to step away from your head, but you're definitely caught in an emotional energy of lack. I don't quite know what happened to you, but let's get into it and let's see what's going on, what's making you feel this way. Now, I have this gorgeous Strength card. But what I'm getting when I look at the Strength card is not so much that you are strong, but that you have dedicated a lot of time to making other people strong. I feel like perhaps there are people who are dependent on you, or there are people, I'm hearing your job, I'm hearing that you are a caregiver, I'm hearing perhaps, I mean given the current times, dare I say, perhaps you're an essential worker, perhaps you are someone that has been giving and giving and giving and not really receiving, but you've been responsible for making other people strong is what I'm getting, and you have forgotten to make yourself strong. And this is a reminder that you have to take care of yourself. And you definitely, I feel like you haven't. I'm hearing the word nurse. I'm definitely getting a sense that you may be an essential worker, or you're providing an essential service. There is something about what you're doing currently that is empowering other people. And I think you have let your way by the wayside. But your guides want you to know that you have to bring that back. You have to return to taking care of yourself. You have to return to empowering yourself, like this beautiful card here, because she's strong, but she also has this dragon that's around her. It's almost like you've been fighting something beastly. It feels like you've been dedicating your energy to taking down something larger than yourself, and you haven't really taken time to take care of yourself. So that is really what I'm seeing right now. And I also just got a flash of the color purple. I don't know if that's any significance to you, but I saw the color purple. And that's a very spiritual color. So perhaps you are, a caregiver, an essential worker, a nurse. Perhaps you're someone that works spiritually with people. Perhaps you have been giving people spiritual guidance during this time, and it has been draining you. But I am definitely getting that sense that this Strength card is not so much that you are strong, but you've been working to empower other people, and it's time to bring it back to you is what I'm hearing. And Spirit, this card is a little bit racy, so I'm going to try to cover the part that is. But Spirit wants you to get out of being withdrawn and to go back to perhaps your family, your community, your friends. I'm hearing that people have been trying to pull you out of a funk, and you've been ignoring them. There have been people that have been telling you, like, let's go and do something. Let's go and hang out. Let's go and, obviously in the time that we're in, it's not the most practical thing, but you should call me. Let's talk on Skype. Let's talk on Zoom. But you don't want to, and you're really deeply retreating into yourself. And it's necessary for healing. I am hearing you need to heal yourself, but also at some point you do have to go back and you have to rejoin your friends. And it goes well with the Four of Cups, because the Four of Cups is all about being blind to something that is immediately in front of you. It's all about being withdrawn. It's all about perhaps not seeing the blessings that are in front of you. And what Spirit is trying to remind you is to see those blessings, is to step away and to focus on yourself and to try to see the blessings that are in your life. And I'm hearing that you have a very, very strong community of people around you. I'm hearing that you have really lovely friends and that they miss you, and that they want to be patient with you. They want you to heal, but they're also really missing you. And it's really not a surprise, quite frankly, given that the time that we're in, we're really not seeing too much of each other. We're quite detached. And okay, well, this really validates it for me. You've been carrying a lot of burdens. You've been carrying a lot of weight on you. You've been definitely trudging through it. This card is very much about carrying a burden that is overwhelming. It's overwhelming. And I do believe that like I've already said, I'm hearing that you need to not stop. I do feel like perhaps this is your job that this is coming from, or your spiritual work, or the work that you do for others. Not stop, but unburden yourself a little bit. Reach out. You do have friends. You do have people that love you. And I'm seeing, again, I see that you've been giving to others. And this card definitely, the Six of Pentacles, is a very charitable card, and it's all about giving. So again, this affirms to me that what I'm saying is that you're definitely someone who is involved in either essentially you are involved in doing spiritual work, perhaps you're involved in activism and you have been doing a lot of activism and taking in a lot of negative energy and absorbing a lot of negative energy that isn't yours, and you haven't taken a step back. And now perhaps you're overcorrecting. Now you're withdrawing entirely. You're taking an attitude of, I don't need anyone. Nobody wants to help me. I'm completely alone. And your guides want you to know that you're not. You're not alone. There are people who miss you. There are people who love you, and you just have to reach out. And the other thing I'm getting, and this might not resonate for everyone, but I'm definitely getting that there's a stern male figure in your life, because I have the King of Swords. Now, the King of Swords is a beautiful card. It represents someone who is stern but fair, very just. But I'm also hearing perhaps you have a male figure in your life who is very tough on you. You have someone in your life who has very high expectations of you. I'm also hearing boss. I'm hearing boss, I'm hearing mentor, and they have very high expectations from you. They want to see something from you, and you feel that if you do not deliver on these expectations, you're going to be disappointing them. But it is making you a little bit bitter. You're saying, well, I've given so much, I've done so much, and you're still not satisfied. And perhaps that's also why you've taken a step back. Now, for some of you, this might be a father figure. For some of you, it might be a boss. This might be a mentor. And they're stern with you. They want you to succeed. They want you to thrive. But perhaps they've been a little bit too tough on you lately. I am getting a sense that they've been a little bit too tough on you. And it's starting to wear down. And the other thing I'm hearing is, if this is a boss or a father figure or a coworker, that there's been a lot of conflict. There's been a rift. And this is the Great Severing card. This is all about, this is Mars energy, anger, conflict, but a softening to love. So if this is your father, if this is a male figure in your life that is related to you, there might have been conflict, there might have been difficulty, it might have really taken an emotional toll on you. I'm hearing it's definitely taken a toll on you. You might have gotten into a very big fight with someone who is a male figure in your life. I'm hearing male, I do apologize, it doesn't have to be male, it could be female, it could be anyone, but I am hearing that there's definitely been conflict and a rift. Perhaps at work, perhaps you got overwhelmed and you might have said something, but you had reached a breaking point. And now you're definitely recovering from that, and you're withdrawing. And I do believe it is because of conflict, and I do believe it has something, at least a little bit, to do with your paternal figure, your boss, your colleague. But there's definitely been some conflict that has made you really angry. And I'm hearing you say, I do so much for you, why can't you just be grateful and see how much I do for you, is what I'm hearing. So for some of you, you're just really fed up. You're feeling like they're not appreciating you, and they're not taking time to take care of you and your needs. And I am hearing that coming through. But, well, again, you have the otter spirit. So this is going back to the fact that you're not alone. So your guides really clearly want you to know. I'm sorry that I'm moving around so much. I have a cat and he keeps trying to claw at my setup, so I'm trying to be patient with him. I'm hearing that you're not alone. And again, this goes back to the 3 of Cups that you have. This goes back to the 4 of Cups. You are not alone. You have a community around you. And perhaps it is these people that you've been helping so much that want to finally give back to you. And they want you to know how valuable and important you are. Perhaps this is a partner. Perhaps in your time that you've been withdrawing, you have been neglecting your loved one and giving the attitude of, well, I don't need anyone. Going back to Halsey's song, I do get a sense that they miss you, and they want to desperately remind you that they're there, and you may be losing sight of that a little bit, and you might be questioning it a little bit because of all of the conflict that you have been embedded in up to this point. But they do want you to know that you're not alone. In fact, you are never alone. The otter spirit is a romantic card. Otters mate for life. They're the perfect companions. And this may be a romantic partner that you stepped away from, This may be a family member, this could be your friends, but you're definitely withdrawing, and you need to kind of come back in. You have to step back in, because sometimes we spend so much time in our heads that we forget about how important it is to go back to our friends, go back to our family, and reconnect and recharge by just having a period of laughter, by taking your mind off of all of the horrible things that have been happening in the world. And this is just a reminder of that. And this is, again, this is confirmation. I swear to you, I do not select these cards. I do pre-shuffle, but I do not, pick any cards in any kind of order. But sometimes the story is just so perfect. The next card I have for you is Be Here Now. So I don't know what more you want from me to say. Your guides they want you to be present. They want you to be here now. You have stepped away. You have gone away somewhere, but they want you to be here now. And they're definitely reminding you that the care you've given is enough, and you deserve to take a step back, but not in the sense of take a step back and go retreat inside yourself, but take a step back to enjoy that which you used to enjoy, the things that make you happy, the things that bring you joy, the things that make you feel light. And it's interesting, this card is purple. I was seeing purple earlier. So again, that might have some significance. Perhaps you are a spiritual worker, because perhaps you are someone that has been providing spiritual guidance for other people in this time and not really taking care of yourself. And you have to step back into that, is what I'm hearing. Because you have, you have adventures and voyage. I guess I'm going to show you both of them at the same time just because they're so connected. You have adventures and voyage. And what I'm hearing is that for some of you, like in this voyage card, you're about to go on a trip or on some kind of adventure with a parent or a grandparent or a mentor, because you see this bigger whale with this smaller whale, and the whale has that tiny whale strapped to her body. So I do feel that now is the time for others to carry you. This may not be a parent, this may not be a relative, but this is definitely a time for you to be carried, and you need to be carried. But you're also on your way to some adventures. You're on your way to some fun. You're on your way to seeing some new things, exploring some new things. I know it doesn't sound much like that in the time that we're in, and it's very difficult, but you're definitely about to go on an adventure, and you're about to go on a voyage. It's interesting you got both of these cards. So I think it's confirmation that maybe you've been working so hard and providing services for other people that it's now time for you to step away and to enjoy time by yourself. But you're not going to be by yourself. You're going to be with someone else, and you're going to be uplifted. You're going to be given that support. I like the support in the voyage cards. You have the Three of Cups. You have You Are Never Alone. I don't know if you've been feeling alone, and perhaps the world has made you feel isolated, or maybe it's just, a sign of the times that we're in, that you're feeling a little bit alone, you're feeling a little bit isolated. But certainly you shouldn't feel that way, because you're not alone. You're about to go on and do some really cool things. You're about to go on and explore the world with your friends, or you're about to just go and spend time with someone who's going to uplift you for a change, so that you're not the one having to uplift other people. You're not the one having to satisfy other people and meet their needs, that your needs are going to finally be met. But that's going to begin when you step away from this withdrawal and you start looking outward into what others are saying to you, what others are trying to do for you, and how others are trying to alleviate some of that struggle that you've been having. And I'm definitely getting that sense very strongly for you. And that's very much it. I really think that Spirit is reminding you that you've got a wonderful community around you, that you don't have to be everyone's healer, that sometimes you can retreat and go and let someone else heal you for a change. If there is a partner, someone that you are in a relationship with, perhaps it's time for you to let them carry you. Perhaps it's time for you to let them take care of you. I'm hearing foot massage. I feel like they really want to pamper you, and there's something going on. There's definitely a disconnect going on. Perhaps there has been some conflict. Perhaps that's the person that you've been in conflict with that has caused this great rift. But now they want to take care of you. They're seeing how hard you work. They're seeing your worth, and they want to uplift you. So that's what I'm seeing for you. And this is a very positive message for you. You're not alone. You're loved. And you have so much in the present to be excited for. So thank you so much for listening, pile 2. I'm going to move on to pile 3. Hello, pile 3. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm going to start by telling you, first of all, just a disclaimer that I've been giving to the other groups, that you might hear some noise. There might be some background noise. I'm really hoping there isn't. I do have animals. I'm sitting in front of a big window. There might be motorcycle noise, trucks or whatever, but I'm going to try to get through it. I hope you can hear me very well, and I hope the cards are very clear. I'm going to start with the song that I picked for you. The song that I picked for you is Giver by K.Flay. It's an incredible song. It's all about coming into yourself and recognizing that you want to be a better person, recognizing that you want to change, but being very resilient, or rather resistant to it, fearful of it, in the sense that you feel like you are not good enough. In fact, she says in it, I'm learning to give, but I don't know if I'm a giver. So it's a great song. Please do listen to it. She's an incredible artist. And I'm going to go ahead and start with your tarot. The first card that I have for you is the King of Swords. I did have the King of Swords come up in a different pile, but I feel like for you, it's a little bit different. What I'm getting from the King of Swords in your pile is that you've just had an awakening. You've just had your lightning moment. You've had your moment of clarity. You've had your moment of becoming aware of something that is probably very unpleasant. And whatever it was is something that is motivating you to jump into action. I feel like for a while you have been stuck still. You have been held back. You have been unable to express yourself. And the King of Swords here shows to me that you've had that lightning moment and you're about to move into action. And the King of Swords is a very just character. The King of Swords is someone that is fair, that is balanced, that is equitable. He's very forward facing in the Rider-Waite tarot. He is someone that shows all of himself. He really makes me think of the King of Solomon from the Bible, for example, in that very infamous story about the baby. That's who I think about when I think about the King of Swords, a very just, intellectual, balanced individual. But for you, I feel like that's something that you're entering into. You're becoming the King of Swords yourself. You're becoming aware to something through this lightning moment, because he is holding lightning and he is being illuminated, but he's also holding his weapon in his other hand, and he's ready to burst into action. It's quite interesting to see the king like this. And that is why I'm picking up for you that you've just had an incredible awakening in your life, and you're perhaps not really sure what to do with it. And perhaps you're doubting yourself and the information that you've just come to understand. I have the Temperance card here. And I do feel like the Temperance card represents you. And I believe for a very long time you have been a pleaser. You have been someone that has, in the Temperance card, the individual depicted is moving water from one cup to another. They're trying to be balanced. They're trying to be fair. I feel like that's someone that you've been for a very long time. You've been someone that has been balanced and trying to see both sides, trying to walk the middle line, but something recently had occurred that has shaken you into awakening. Perhaps this is an internal revelation. I do feel for a lot of you, you have just become aware of the injustice inflicted upon you. And I feel like for a long time, perhaps you've been gaslit, perhaps you've been told it's not that bad, perhaps you've been told to be quiet, perhaps you've been told to keep your mouth shut, perhaps you've been told that, don't worry, nothing's going to come of it, why would you even raise it? But I feel like that time for you is over. I do sincerely feel like you're right about to enter into a transformation, that you're about to redefine how you view the world. But I also get a sense that you're echoing back to the song that I picked for you, Giver, I feel like you're someone who feels guilty and ashamed and unworthy of the task that you're about to embark upon. Perhaps you see an area that requires your help. So let's say you're reacting to the injustices that we're all facing today, that we're witnessing today in this point in time, and you feel, I don't know how I'm worthy to carry this message forward. I don't know if my voice is going to be good enough to do what I want to do. And there's a lot of self-doubt that's motivating you and holding you back a little bit. I definitely sense that. But what your ancestors want you to know very clearly and very profoundly is that you come from a long line of individuals who sought justice when seeking justice was uncomfortable and scary and improvident. I feel very clearly that you came from an ancestral lineage, an ancestral background of people who were not afraid to get into the face of the oppressor, to stand in their way, to fight against oppression. I'm hearing that you have great grandparents and grandparents in your line who may have fought in the war, the Great World Wars, or people in your line who have fought in the Great World Wars. I do get a very profound sense that you come from a very long line of very powerful people who did not stand down. And they want you to hear this loudly and clearly. They do not want you to stand down. They have been where you have been. They have been afraid to raise their voice, to say what they have to say, and to fight against injustice. But they've never bowed down. And even through that fear, they kept moving, because what they had to do was for the greater good. And they're calling you to do the same, and they're calling you not to be afraid. As you can see in this justice card, you have this absolutely gorgeous woman depicted. She is weighing a heart and a feather. She's seeking justice, and that's what your ancestors have done, and that's what they want you to do. In fact, they're saying that this is what you're going to do because it is your destiny, and you might be afraid of it, but I'm feeling that you're one of those people who is going to make a great impact on the world. There are people who are unfortunately destined for that. They are born into this world to change it. They are born into this world to make things different and better for people, even at the expense of their I don't want to say well-being, but even at the expense of their comfort and fear and resistance. They have to push that aside and do what the right thing for the greater good is. And that is really what I'm getting for you. I'm hearing that quite loudly. The other thing your guides want you to know is that you are the Queen of Cups. And what I'm seeing from the Queen of Cups for you specifically is you have an emotional intelligence that perhaps you work in an area that requires emotional intelligence. Perhaps you're studying in an area that requires a lot of emotional intelligence. I'm hearing that perhaps you want to be a counselor, you want to be a caregiver, you want to be a personal support worker, you want to be someone who goes out and I'm also hearing help people with addiction. I'm hearing that you're someone who is studying perhaps in that area or already occupying that area where you are offering support to people who may not be the easiest to deal with, but you have a way to temper them. Back to the Temperance card. You have a way of moving from one vessel to another and seeing the balance between the two and balancing the two, even when that's uncomfortable. I'm hearing that some of you work with difficult people, but you manage to, I'm hearing that you manage to de-escalate a situation very well because you have this very incredible emotional intelligence about you that makes you very valuable. If you're not already valuable, you will be valuable in an area where that is necessary, where those skills and talents will be an absolute asset. And that's what your guides want you to know, and that is why the Queen of Cups is appearing for you. But you have not been without your own personal difficulty. I do feel as though there have been people who have stood in your way. I'm hearing that you have a story to tell, and there have been those who have tried to silence you. I'm hearing that there are people who have said that's not important, that's not significant, that's not something you should talk about, that's embarrassing. And I'm hearing that you have, the Three of Swords is a heartbreak card, it's a loss card, it's a devastation card. And I'm hearing that there have been people that have made suggestions to you in that vein and have tried to stop you from speaking out and have tried to stop you from growing your talents and your skills and from doing what you want to do, I hear that you have a story to tell. I hear that you've been through something, and I hear that it's going to change the lives of others, but there have been people in your life that don't want you to tell the story. Perhaps they're the ones who inflicted those wounds to begin with, so they don't want you to tell that story. They don't want the world to know. But but I'm hearing that you have to, because it is important, and it is not a stupid story. It's not a silly story, and that your experience is going to help someone else. I definitely feel that. And I feel that for this card, the Three of Pentacles, usually that stands for teamwork. It stands for a community. I do believe that whatever you're going to embark on, you're not going to embark on it alone. There are going to be people out there to help you. I'm hearing that perhaps the first step is to reach out to people who have been through similar things and bring each other together and share and form a group and try to articulate your stories together to have that support. Perhaps that will make things easier. I feel like you're going to be part of activist groups. You're definitely going to be part of a community. You're not going to be alone. And I'm hearing that that's something that's going to guide you to success wherever you want to go, but most importantly in this journey, which I do believe is one of justice. I do believe you're seeking justice. I think you're definitely well on your way of getting it, and you're not going to go alone. You will definitely have support. I'm hearing for some of you that may be a counselor or a therapist or someone in your life already that has been saying the things that I've been saying to you. And, you know, if they were listening to this, they'd say, yeah, absolutely, I agree. You have something in you. There is a force in you, and you've been damping that and not wanting to push it forward. But a lot of that is because of what other people have said to you, what other people have represented to you, and their falsehoods. Your spirit guides want you to know that that's all crap. It's nonsense. It's not true. It is meant to oppress you. It is meant to keep you quiet, and it's meant to put barriers in your way instead of move you forward. The people who love you and care about you genuinely would never do that. They would tell you, go ahead, you have a valuable story to tell, we're here to support you, you have a movement to create, you have a path to go, and you shouldn't slow down. And I feel like for a very long time, you've been told to wait, or you've been told it's not the time. You have to slow down, you have to buy your time, or, you know, it was an effort to put barriers in a way. It was an effort to stop you from doing what you have to do. But I also feel like you've waited long enough. It does say here, it's not yet time, things are being woven. But the way that I'm seeing this card is I'm seeing that from the perspective of both what you're currently thinking and what you have been told and what has been reinforced to you for a very long time. But I believe that is coming to an end, and you have recharged enough and you have enough fervor in you to now propel yourself to where you need to be. And where you need to be is for your own self-empowerment. But how you're going to empower yourself is also going to empower others. You are going to empower others. I'm hearing it might be through spiritual work, if not activism, if not through a movement, if not through your job, if not through being a counselor or a support worker to someone. It could be through, it could very much be through a spiritual work that you're doing, but you're definitely, I believe your time to wait is coming to an end, and I believe you've been told to wait for quite a bit. And I think a lot of the people who have told you to wait have also tried to destroy your self-confidence, or tried to interfere with your self-confidence, or tried to bring you down in some way. I feel like you've existed for a very long time in a situation, in a place where you couldn't feel like your genuine self, where you had to repress a lot of things, where you might have behaviors that people might not understand because you're too afraid to talk about where they're coming from. And what Spirit wants you to know is two things. Number one, Spirit wants you to know that you're going through a transformation, and it's a beautiful transformation. Now, to focus on this card a little bit, you can see that there's a crown right over the butterfly, that the crown is bursting with other butterflies, that there's a lot of color, that there's a lot of vibrancy, and the card says transformation is beautiful. And that is precisely what you're going through right now. You are transforming in this incredible way. You're transforming into your unique individual self, and you are no longer going to oppress that part of yourself that you have been asked for so long to oppress because it didn't serve the interests of other people. And here you have the skunk spirit. Know your worth. There have been people that have been trying to diminish your worth. There have been people that have been saying that you're not good enough. There have been people that have been trying to bring you down, but that is because of their own motivations, and that is because of their own insecurities and their own problems. And that does not impact you. That shouldn't impact you and shouldn't interest you, because your spirit guides are telling you to know your worth and that your transformation is beautiful. Now, this can be a number of things. Perhaps you're coming into your sexual identity or your gender identity, or you are transforming from someone who was too afraid to speak out and tell their story, but now you're going to, because you can see all of this bursting out of the butterfly, all of this color, all of this beauty, all of it's just coming out and it's transforming out of the butterfly. I do believe that that's part of it. I think that who you're about to become is someone incredibly beautiful, and I hear that the person that you are becoming, it may not be the case perhaps for the people that you're currently surrounded with, but your ancestors are proud. They are proud to see this transformation, and they are excited to see it. You might see the number 1111. This 11 is also a master number. So remember how I said that I believe that you're someone who is fortunately or unfortunately destined to be someone who shakes and rattles the foundations of where we are currently existing. I do think that for you. I think that you are one of those very unique people who is meant to change certain stagnant, old, historic, and no longer serving institutions, no longer serving ways of thinking, and that you're going to help awaken the world as well, just as you have been awakened. And your guides want you to know your worth, and that your transformation is beautiful, and to shut out anybody who has anything less than that to say, because they don't want to hear it. They're tired of you hearing it, and they're tired of you feeling like you're less than anything except somebody who can make these things happen. And like I said earlier that you're not alone on this journey. Now we have the community card. Now we also have the beautiful rainbow. So you, again, I think you may be someone who is blossoming into your gender identity. I see, oh gosh, my cat. I see quite a lot of butterfly symbolism here. So the transformation element is coming through very, very strongly. You are in the middle of a transformation. You are in the middle of building a community of people who are like you. So while perhaps for a long time in your life you didn't have that community, you did not have that support, you definitely will now. You will soon, once you accept that you're transforming. And then finally, like I said, you're destined to be a leader. You're destined to be someone who is going to change the old ways of thinking, or at least break through. I'm also hearing that your family, your existing current family, might be putting blocks in your way, might be interfering with your movement. But I am hearing that you're a leader, and it doesn't really matter how much anybody interferes, because you are destined for this, just as your ancestors. And for some of you, you will know this. For some of you, you might not know this, because you might have ancient ancestors, but there have been people in your line who were unwilling to stand up to oppression, unwilling to stand up for and tolerate anything less than the life that they want to live. And they're telling you that they see parts of them in you, and they know you can hear them in those moments where you have doubt. And they just wanted to repeat again, loudly and clearly, that you should know your worth, that you should go in the direction that you want to find your happiness, and that in that you will have a community there, and you will also be a leader, and that you have the master number 1111. Perhaps you have 11 in your birthday. Perhaps you see the number 1111. It is a master number. I do sincerely think that you are destined for greatness. and that you shouldn't stand down. And now is not the time to stand down. Now is the time for movement. And your ancestors and your guides want you to know, don't be afraid. Block out the negativity. It's just crap. It's nonsense. It's just meant to bring you down, and keep moving forward. Because again, this is all of the piles today have been really, really positive. I don't know what that has to do with, but certainly I do have that strong sense for you that while there has been resistance in your past aimed towards you specifically, it's about to come to an end and you're about to transform. Thank you so much for watching Pile 3, and I hope you have a wonderful day.